Hello, I'm going to do a um, movie review now on a movie I saw a while ago now that was a sequel, but this sequel was done in black and white, and the main character in this film does not talk the at all during the whole entire movie. Now I'm talking about the controversial horror film concept with this very weird idea of a film. Now, you are probably wondering what movie I'm talking about. I'm talking about the sequel to the first, The Human Centipede. Now, The Human Centipede is this very bizarre concept about basically what is a human centipede. Well, we know what an animal centipede is, it's a creature. But a human centipede is basically humans being taped mouth to anus together as a, and that basically forms what this franchise is basically about, is torturing and stapling a tongue or lips or whatever to not just one person but all these different people's rear. Now, the second movie was definitely a lot more disturbing than the first Human Centipede. Now, why I've decided to do this review was I'm still very scarred by the first, not the first Human Centipede, but definitely by the second Human Centipede. Now, the second Human Centipede I would not recommend. Now, I wouldn't really recommend the first one either exactly, but it's a little bit more tasteful than the second one. I'm not saying the first movie is tasteful. There's nothing tasteful about people being kidnapped or drugged and then, or not even drugged, having a witness basically being tortured and having their mouth sewn to another person's backside. It's not exactly a tasteful film franchise as a horror film. Now, there's horror films that are tasteful, and then there's horror films that are not tasteful. And The Human Centipede is definitely one of these horror films that definitely aren't tasteful. It would leave a nasty taste in your mouth. Well, of course it would. You wouldn't want to be having your mouth stuck to someone's butthole. It's not exactly pleasant. It, of course, is a very fucked up movie, especially the second one. And why I want to say the second one is more disturbing is the black and white concept. Now, black and white is not a bad concept at all. There's comedies, horror, there's all sorts of movies that are black and white. But this movie is so dreary from the opening scene to when that overweight fat guy who doesn't talk, who's a mute, and has a very mental illness, and is so obsessed, and he's watching the end of the original Human Centipede movie, which is basically the first opening scene to the movie. And anyway, he goes on to he actually also kills his very own mother, who is treating him bad, and the psychologist who apparently molests him and stuff like that. We see a scene where he actually owns a normal centipede as well. He actually owns a scrapbook of images from the original Human Centipede movie. Now, he kills his mother, and you see her awful dead body in something, and he has a dead split head, open body. It's a horrible scene in black and white. Now, I'm actually glad that some of the bits where he's kidnapped and he's killed some of the people is in black and white. It's very effective and it's very disturbing. Especially the scene where he gives these women and men that he's attached to people's butthole, he's basically forcing laxatives down this tube pipe. And he gets off on this shit. And basically, the fucked up bit, of course, is them pooping into other people's mouth and shit smearing all over the place in this awful looking, fucked up warehouse. Now, this movie is just mentally fucked up from woe to go, from the beginning to the end. This movie is absolutely shocking. It's one of the worst horror films I have ever seen. And I've seen horror films that are disturbing, but I love. The Human Centipede 2, I do not love. I absolutely hate this movie. I hate, 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 hate The Human Centipede 2. It's a movie, if I was drinking a beer to this movie, I'd probably chuck it down the drain. Because this movie would make me want to vomit on the beer and not want to enjoy drinking it. This movie is absolutely terrible. The acting is disturbing itself, which is okay in certain movies, just not The Human Centipede 2. It's totally fucked up. I'm not even going to mention every scene that is fucked up. Mentioning one scene that I've mentioned already, and the other scene I've mentioned is already fucked up as it is. The Human Centipede 2 should have never, ever been made. However, the Human Centipede 1 probably never should have been made. But it's not as bad as the Human Centipede 2. Human Centipede 3 is a joke, in a way. To me, it's like a parody of the franchise. It mocks it while being disturbing and kind of grotesque as well. But the Human Centipede 2 is absolutely grotesque. Don't watch it. I only watched it because of the fact I've heard so many people say it's disturbing. I wanted to see for myself. I regret actually watching it. Don't see the Human Centipede 2. Don't see it. Ever. It should have never been made. And here's my review on it. One of the worst films ever. I don't even give it worth stars. 1 star, maybe. That's enough already. Until then, I'll see you for more reviews later. And I'll be also reviewing another film from 1975, but in colour. And it's just got some shocking torture scenes, some really fucked up scene of a girl having to eat a bowl of excrement. This movie was also very fucked up, and that was Salo, or 120 Days of Sodom. Another movie I also don't recommend. I wish I hadn't seen it. It was also fucked. I would rather people watch Finding Nemo, Finding Dory, or just watching paint dry. That's a lot more fun than these movies. Until then, take care, and I hope you're not watching The Human Centipede. At least not the second one, anyway.